Tanjiro Kamado, as the main character of Demon Slayer, is known to be compassionate, a sweetheart, and an overall genuine person. The connection with his demon sister is overwhelming, but what if that connection was so strong that Nezuko didn't become a demon, but a cursed spirit, made to protect Tanjiro himself? Find out what happens in What If Tanjiro Was the Reincarnation of Yuta. It's an understatement to say that Tanjiro loves his family. It's an understatement to say that he will do anything to protect them. But sometimes life throws battles in your face that you cannot control. And sometimes life gives you obstacles to jump over that there's no way you can stop. There's no way you can, jump over that hurdle without clipping your foot, without face planting on the ground. Tanjiro realized this very quickly. A happy life he once had. A life that involved his family, his sister, his brothers and sisters. A happy life that involved peace. But one day, he wanted to do something good for his family. He wanted to do something nice. So what he did was he took the charcoal they had and brought it down to the village. All he wanted to do was sell the charcoal. But what he didn't know is that his time would be consumed by people wanting help and help from him. The nice guy and the nice, amazing kid he is, he helps everyone there. Helps her, helps him, helps them, everyone. Because that is the person Tanjiro Kamado is. But that's also the person that will go through hell. Tanjiro would make his way back up the mountain, but quickly someone would tell him that he needs to stay the night where he is currently at the moment, because there's demons that lurk about in the forest, especially during the night. This wasn't really a fright for Tanjiro, but to put the man at ease, he decides to listen and decides to stay, at the man's place. After the night is over, he heads back up. He heads back up the mountain to his home. But the issue, the really big issue, is that when he arrives, nothing will be the same. Everyone in his family will be killed, murdered, slaughtered. He walks up to see a blood trail everywhere, running across. It's as if all he can see is red. Stumbling into his house, he sees the dead body of his mother and all of his siblings. But one last sibling was still alive. Tanjiro would run over and see Nezuko on the ground, trying to gain her breath, trying to survive. But there's a wound right on her chest, directly toward her heart. And that scares Tanjiro. He immediately tries to wrap it up, but of course, Nezuko knows she's dead. She's gone. There's no way for her to survive this. She grabs Tanjiro on the back of the neck and tells her brother that she will always be with him. Tanjiro begins to cry, not wanting his sister to go away, telling her to hold on, that he will save her. He promises he will. But just as he says this, her hand would go limp and her arm would follow. Soon, Nezuko would be gone. Her spirit, her soul, would be gone to the heavens above. Tanjiro pleading, saying that, he was supposed to protect her. He was supposed to save her. Emotions running wild, Tanjiro would grab her and pick her up, hoping to run off and save her. But before you know it, he would stumble to the ground. The exhaustion is getting to him, and the panic that's running over him is overwhelming him. He looks at his sister one last time, and tears hit the cheek of Nezuko. Tanjiro apologizes and says that he was supposed to be her protector. And now, he hopes to be protected by her while she watches from the heavens. Tanjiro would then see this mist-like thing begin to rise out of Nezuko, as if her body would be then picked up and casted away. But the smoke that is currently appearing around Tanjiro seems to not be smoke necessarily. The smoke that was, well, floating around him is now changing into a figure. It seems odd. He's not so sure what's even happening, but just as he turns around, he sees a figure. The figure of his little sister that begins to latch onto his back and stay there, just like in canon. It seems as if she's still attached to Tanjiro in some fashion. He looks around to see where Nezuko's body is, but the body is gone entirely. It seems like the gods or whatever's out there created something out of Nezuko, created her and made her into his own protector, made her into a cursed spirit. Following the line of someone years ago, following the line of someone in an entirely different universe, maybe an entirely different realm of possibility. This person must have had some sort of connection with the being that was attached to them. But Tanjiro's connection is based around wanting to protect his little sister. His connection now is bestowed onto Nezuko, being that of, well, she's here to now protect him from whatever came that one night that he was gone. Whatever came and killed his entire family, including Nezuko herself. But it ends up changing drastically. When Tanjiro is walking, thinking about what he should do, where he should go, he doesn't have a home anymore. Someone appears. It's odd. He senses this person before he even arrives, as if he can kind of read the emotions in the air, or smell them, maybe. The person arrives and immediately asks where the demon is. He knows there's a demon around here. Where is it? He can feel it. It's as if it's a bone-chilling sensation. But as he looks at Tanjiro, he gets a flash of the thing on his back. A demon-like creature, but it's like a spirit. It's Nezuko. Long hair and nails razor sharp. Teeth that flash to be, well, sharp as her nails. But those teeth would then go away into normal ones, as if she was in her regular appearance. The flash of whatever she was would disappear, and Tomioka, the water Hashira, would ask Tanjiro what has happened here in the last, well, 24 hours. Tanjiro, once again, begins to be saddened, but doesn't want to more or less put it on a stranger. So he begins to explain what happened, his family, what happened to them, and what occurred, and what happened to his little sister, and how somehow they're connected even through some sort of spirit. Tomioka is shocked to hear this. A spirit? Kid, you gotta be kidding me. Tanjiro shakes his head. He's not kidding. Tomioka tells him that there's only been stories of this. Stories. Before demons, there used to be something known as spirits, or, well, they called them demonic spirits, maybe cursed spirits? He's not so sure. He doesn't remember. But it was something in that regard. But a lot of cursed spirits were, well, bad. They wanted to take people over, kill them, eat them, whatever you could think of. They wanted to destroy and feed off fear, hatred, and, well, anything you can even think of. And that's exactly what Nezuko might be doing to him. Tanjiro shakes his head and says Nezuko would never do something like that. Never. That he was her protector, and that now Nezuko is the protector of Tanjiro. Tomioka thinks about this and actually does remember some story similar to the one that Tanjiro is saying. Some person that they don't even have his name. Some person was able to have a cursed spirit, and this cursed spirit was as if they were linked and they were battle hungry. It's very odd, but it's something that Tomioka thinks may be plausible. But still, he tells Tanjiro that from here on out, he has to make a choice. He needs to either figure out a way to get stronger and protect himself from demons, or die. Tomioka is stern about this, and Tanjiro says that's not much of a choice, but Tomioka quickly explains that if they find that he has a cursed spirit, they'll want it. They'll want the death of Tanjiro. They're not 100% sure why. Frankly, the history books even have such limited information, but still, he's told that he needs to go and meet with a man by the name of Urokodaki, in which that is exactly what Tanjiro will do. Tanjiro will be headed off to see the one and only Urokodaki, a sensei, one that trained even Tomioka. He goes off and he basically heads off in a direction. He doesn't have to actually carry Nezuko this time around, so he doesn't need much, but he heads over there, and right before nighttime strikes, he actually arrives. So he doesn't actually have to deal with any demons. And frankly, the demon that is near, the temple demon, is handled by Urokodaki extremely swiftly. And Tanjiro immediately speaks with Urokodaki, learning of who he is, what he does, what kind of training he's going to put him through. But at the same time, Urokodaki does examine Nezuko just a little bit. The fact that this cursed spirit kind of more or less comes in and out of reality itself is something interesting. It's as if the demon slayers can see him, but they're not fully adjusted to the cursed spirits yet, so they can't see them for long periods of time. But Urokodaki tells Tanjiro that if he can really and truly use Nezuko as a way of protection, in which Tanjiro cuts him off very quickly, saying that he's not going to use Nezuko for anything, but Urokodaki tells him he didn't mean it in that way. His sister wants to protect him. That's why she got attached to him and became a cursed spirit. So they're going to be, in a way, using each other, at least in defense. Tanjiro understands the idea and allows him to continue. He tells Tanjiro to learn how to more or less utilize both of their strengths. Have Nezuko fight with him. It might sound crazy, but she might be able to enhance whatever he can do right now in the real world through whatever means she has in the other world. He says it's a confusing statement, he knows, but still, he should be able to do some amazing things. And this would be proven when the training would begin. The training would prove that Tanjiro is already leaps and bounds ahead of where he would have been on his own, making him a lethal threat with a sword relatively quickly. And for all the disadvantages he does have in terms of his flaws as a swordsman, Nezuko can make up for them, protecting him in various different ways. And on top of that, she can even make his strengths even greater, making it so that when he begins to use water breathing, he begins to actually have added effects onto his blade. It's as if when he slices, there's remnants that are left behind. He'll slice at a tree and a remnant is left behind. It seems like there's more power to more or less be unlocked with both Nezuko and Tanjiro, and Nezuko will continue to protect her brother for as long as possible. After a good amount of time of training, being that of a year to 2 years of training, Tanjiro is developing at insane rates, learning water breathing at insane rates. So when he understands and learns all of his water breathing techniques, it seems as if there's really no way for him not to pass the whole test with the boulder. He slices it in half relatively easily, but he decides that he'll stay there and train just a little bit more before the final selection. But soon, the final selection would be upon Tanjiro, and he would take his journey with Nezuko. He would begin to head over there, and it would seem as if the closer he got, the more restless the demons within that said forest would get. It's as if Nezuko herself could tell Tanjiro how restless, how bloodthirsty, and how, reckless in general these demons were. When he would arrive at the final selection, he would listen to more or less these two twins speak about what's going to happen and what's going to occur. He looks around and it seems as if nobody is reacting to Nezuko. No one's reacting to the cursed spirits besides one person, a young girl. A girl staring at Tanjiro in complete shock, but it's as if she's shocked in a different way. She's shocked without even showing facial expressions. Tanjiro only knows this because he could sense it even greater than he would possibly imagine, and he's just confused in general, not knowing exactly how this would work. But still, he knows that she must be powerful if she can more or less see Nezuko, being that she is a weird cursed spirit, or a spirit in general. Tanjiro would await the start of the final selection, and let's just say when he walks into the final selection, things go scattering. And what I mean by that is Nezuko herself sends chills down the spines of every last demon there. All of them, terrified, not wanting to even go close to Tanjiro. But eventually one would dare. One really stupid demon. A demon was chasing a young demon slayer, or an up-and-coming demon slayer, running for his life, and this demon was mocking him. But eventually Tanjiro would come across that said demon, the hand demon. The hand demon would look at Tanjiro and see his earrings, or, well, ear decoration things that he's seen before. But he can't put his finger on it. Where exactly is it from? Oh wait, he remembers. The students of that damn Urokodaki, he killed them, and now they're within him. Tanjiro can sense the malice from the demon, and the demon's about to actually strike toward Tanjiro, but it's as if in a second, in a matter of a split second, it completely freezes. Tanjiro is confused and looks toward the demon, and it's as if the eyes of the demon itself are fixated right behind Tanjiro. Terrified, shaking, thinking that he could stand up to whatever this was, he was wrong. It's terrifying him now. It's making him, well, freeze up. He's never had these emotions before. He's never had emotions like this since he was, well, human. He's shocked and terrified, but eventually that would all be put to a rest when Tanjiro would come in at blazing speeds, faster than he's ever ran in before, slicing his head off with a water wheel. Just like that. Over. Done. The monster is completely felled, and, well, Tanjiro's even shocked himself. He's never seen how strong he could truly be. But it's not just him, it's Nezuko as well. Nezuko making not only, well, her abilities and her mobility faster and stronger, but also Tanjiro's as well, making his attacks more potent, making his attacks, well, perfect, piercing strikes that would slice through more or less stone itself, more or less anything you can think of. That neck that was supposedly restricted and would be so hard to slice through, no, it cut through like butter. Tanjiro would kill the demon, but still would hope that on the next life he would be forgiven. But we all know that there is no forgiveness when you become a demon in the afterworld. After that is said and done though, the rest of the demons wouldn't dare step toward Tanjiro. The hand demon was more or less the closest thing they had to a, well, strong demon. So the next week or so would be a coast. Easy. Tanjiro would help out with protecting others and would gather a group of people to try and protect them, make sure that they were safe, which would be easy when the demons don't even want to get close because of how terrifying Nezuko is just sitting on Tanjiro's back, just waiting. This Nezuko, in the eyes of Tanjiro, may look different, may look like, well, herself in a way, just maybe slightly older, slightly buffer, and more angry and grimace. But at the same time, what does she look like to these demons? It could be corrupt. It could be terrifying. Something that would scare a demon is something Tanjiro doesn't necessarily want to see himself. But with that said, the week is over, and it's all said and done. It's all wrapped up for the final selection, and Tanjiro obviously would have passed because he survived throughout the forest, and most of the people there passed as well, but that's because of Tanjiro himself. He would then arrive, awaiting the twins once again, and when they did arrive, they would give out their Nichiren ores, in which Tanjiro is able to smell around and more or less get the ore that he wants. But before that, someone to his right, some weird kid, someone that was very brooding, or he was brooding and very angry for no reason, would kind of threaten the young twins, or maybe old twins, he's not so sure. Tanjiro would of course stop this before getting his own ore, and he would shut it down, terrifying the kid or the boy, which was actually funny to Tanjiro, especially because normally his whole demeanor is so warm and happy and not really scary at all. But still, it worked out for the best. He takes his ore and he leaves, but there's somebody watching him as he does so. Kanao is watching Tanjiro leave and is still curious about him. She's going to relay the information that she's gotten, but what she doesn't know is that Tomioka, the water Hashira, has already known about this, and frankly is about to relay this information himself, so it will just confirm that it exists. That's about it. Tanjiro would head back down to Urokodaki, in which Urokodaki would be happy to see Tanjiro still alive, but at the same time, he kind of knew this would work, or this would be the case. He read up on cursed spirits more and more, and yes, there are a limited amount of information, but still, he read enough to more or less prove his point that Tanjiro would be just fine. The powers that Nezuko would be giving him are immense, and there's really no solid definition of what type of powers he would get. It could be insanely powerful. It could be insane, or insanely powerful could be an understatement, frankly. And, well, this would be easy for Tanjiro then. Even if he has the bare minimum amount of powers, even just slight enhancement, he would destroy the final selection with ease, in which obviously he did, and frankly Urokodaki expected this. Tanjiro would speak with Urokodaki, and Urokodaki would say that expect Tanjiro, or expect himself to get some harder missions, especially once he becomes an official demon slayer after he gets his Nichiren sword and his very own crow. Not too much time would pass, and that's exactly what would happen. Getting a blade that would turn a black color, in which would disappoint the swordsmith, saying that he wished he would have saw someone have some red colored sword, or this, blazing red like the sun. But Tanjiro says that it's unfortunate, but it's okay. In which they do say that there's a bad omen around the black sword, but at the same time, Tanjiro believes it to be just linked to Nezuko, not thinking that it could be linked to him in terms of a different breathing style. But still, he doesn't think too much about it, and he would go on his merry way, basically hearing what's next with the crow. The crow would begin to speak and tell Tanjiro that he's going to have to help a nearby village. This nearby village actually has been losing females left and right. So when he arrives there, he gets some information from a younger lad. He's older than Tanjiro, but he's still pretty young. He's a young adult, and he gets some information from him about the kidnappings and about how his wife got kidnapped. Tanjiro tells him that he's going to make sure and to try his best to salvage and more or less get his wife or these other females back to all of them, and hope for the best. And of course, and eventually, Tanjiro would find this demon, the swamp demon, a demon that could basically use portals to go in and out of kind of a weird dimensional state, and would steal women like this. Very, very, very creepy. But the arrival of Tanjiro and also Nezuko would scare the swamp demon immensely, as if there's this weird lure that Nezuko begins to kind of feed out, so the swamp demon comes near. But once the swamp demon comes near, well, let's just say there is no escape anymore. Nezuko and Tanjiro immediately seize the opportunity, going for the throat of the demon immediately. He opens a portal, which is perfect because Tanjiro is able to more or less make a move to go down there and grab whatever's there and whoever is there, in which he does save one girl, unfortunately not being able to save all the others, but he was able to save that one girl. And Nezuko, who's normally right next to Tanjiro, more or less preoccupied the demon, the swamp demon, holding him still and just, let's just say, terrifying the living hell out of him. Just terrifying. Imagine how scary something needs to be to terrify a demon. That's a whole nother thing we would have to talk about. Tanjiro emerges with the girl and a couple other knickknacks that seem to be from the other victims. But quickly the swamp demon would be murdered by one swing of the blade and an enhanced version of that blade that Nezuko would be able to enhance. But this time around, when he swung it, these pink flames would ignite as if it begins to consume the demon once again, combining with Tanjiro's sword. It seems like that Nezuko, the powers that she would have had as a demon herself, seemed to be actually intertwined as a cursed spirit, empowering Tanjiro's blade and melting through a demon insanely quick. But the next stop they have is one that would terrify anybody. The next stop is a city that truly never sleeps. And this city would host a demon that is acting like a human. The demon, the one demon that killed Tanjiro's family. Muzan Kibutsushi. Now that is the goal. Tanjiro wants the head of Muzan. But how would he even get it? There's no way, right? Well, that idea would quickly change when he arrives in the new city. Sitting down to get some food, he grabs some ramen for himself and begins to eat. And as he eats, the smell of the food gets rotten, gross, terrifying. And then images in his head change quickly, and he looks to his right. He sees this blood trail following whatever is ahead, and he gets up, putting the bowl down. He immediately grabs his sword and begins to walk over toward it. That walk began to turn into a speed walk. The speed walk began to turn into a run, and that run turned into a sprint. Tanjiro would immediately stop right next to this person, grabbing his shoulder and turning him around, seeing that it's a person? A human? No. This isn't real. He's faking. He's not a human. This is him. The one that killed his family. Tanjiro is about to draw his sword, and Muzan, the look on his face, says it all. It's not cockiness. It's not confidence. It's actually a small bit of fear. That fear quickly would turn into anger, and that anger would turn into frustration. He knows that Tanjiro can't fight him here. He has no means of sending them off to a different area. He has no means of putting them into a different location, and he knows he won't risk the people around. But at the same time, what the hell is that thing? Muzan stares at Nezuko, thinking that this was the same girl that he tried to infect with blood, same girl that he tried to change into a demon. But she's a no, she's not. How is this possible? Muzan is freaking out in his own head. But just as he's freaking out, he puts on a smile, asking Tanjiro what he needs and if he's okay. Tanjiro, for some reason, even himself, knows that he should not take further action. Just saying that he thought he was someone else. Tanjiro begins to walk away as Muzan does the same. It seems like Muzan himself has a bit of a sigh of relief. He doesn't know if he really would struggle against Tanjiro, at least not right now, but blowing his cover would be detrimental. But as he walks away, he hears whispers in his ear. The whispers of Nezuko, telling him that he soon will die. He soon will catch the flames of the blade of Tanjiro Kamado. This sends chills down Muzan's spine, turning around to see that the demon, or the cursed spirit / demon type of hybrid, is sitting on the back of Tanjiro, staring at him. But the version that Tanjiro sees, the sweet Nezuko, the Nezuko that he remembers, yes, she's a little scary, but nothing bad. But that version Muzan sees is something horrendous, something you would only see in your deepest nightmares. Will Muzan get what he deserves? How will Tanjiro fare against the demons to come? Well, you'll have to find out in the next part of What If Tanjiro Was the Reincarnation of Yuta. And if you enjoyed, make sure to show some love by leaving a like, leaving a sub, and leaving a comment down below, all that good stuff. And I hope you all have an amazing day. Later.